Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right, excited for this meeting. We got a lot of stuff to cover and go over. I see some new faces. We may get some education. Maybe it's the mindset. We're at a vital time in our time of the year, and with the turn of the year coming, and winter and holidays, and 2018, and I always like this time of year. I don't know why. I just I'm not a big believer of New Year's resolutions. I'm a believer of resolutions. Right? You should just make those decisions when you make those decisions. But at the same time, I'm big on the New Year. For some reason, I think on the 31st, your life will change. I buy into these things. This is the year my hair will grow back. This is the year I'm go on a run, double my income, whatever it is. I'm reading this book, and it says something very simple. Anything is possible if a person believes. Right? Anything is possible if a person believes. And always remember that. That's what this business, Primerica, being self-employed, running a business, hiring people, it's your belief system, your belief level, the injection in your mind of belief is the motor, right? And I have two cars, right? I have a minivan, right? That when you're going uphill, it doesn't feel like it's gonna go. Like I'm like, I'm just sometimes. But then I got my Benz, right? My Benz is somewhat fast. It's V8, and it's a pretty fast car, right? So sometimes I'll be in the van, but I think I'm in my Mercedes. So I'll pull out of a right turn and I'll gun it, and it doesn't move. And usually if I'm in the van, I got the kids. I got to remember, I got the kids in the car. Can't do that. The Mercedes, I can go. I mean, it's car's right out there. I can take a right turn, and they don't even come close to me. They'll think that I'm pulling out, and it's I'm probably making the wrong move, but it's fine. All right. Your belief level, that's the motor. And the reason why meetings and trainings are so important is because you have to keep your belief level high, because there's a lot of distractions, there's a lot of short-term projection. And there is tons, Rhonda Byer told me this when I shared an office with her. The very first thing she said to me, she was just talking, she just said it in passing, she goes, people doubt themselves millions of times a day. Think about that. People doubt themselves millions of times a day. R. Williams said, I've never had a day, I'm fighting every day to do this, but I've never had a day where I was positive 100% of the time. It's just there, thoughts of negativity come in. That doesn't mean that you're a negative person, but that's why meetings and trainings and making adjustments, and I feel right now, right, and always remember this too, Christian David taught me this. You never learn anything when you're winning. It's when you're down on your knees, that's when you pray, and that's when you're thinking, my gosh, help me out, because you realize you've been humbled, you've been beaten down, you've been smacked down, you've been crushed. Then you're going to learn and get better, or you're going to quit. So today's training for me, okay, the part that I'm going to go over is just adjustments or things that we've made, or things that we've done correctly, and things that we're going to change going into the next year, which December is always the next year. Always remember that. In our fiscal year, December is when 2018 starts. Okay. So, these things came in. These are Let's give it up. Awesome job. Yeah. TJ Bell. All right. Remember the watch that I got?
I heard
The gold watch? I looked at that watch. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice. Look at the key.
yeah. All right. So, 2018, okay? If you want to get big, okay, and you want to grow your business, which obviously, you want passive income, you want freedom, you want, all the things that are awarded to business owners. Obviously, we have to grow our recruiting, we have to find good people, and we have to get them to show up to meetings, right, Ricky? And we have to get them to show up. But the big frame word in there is duplication. All right, Kelvin was talking to me the other day. We were just talking, and we were in my office. We went to lunch. We went to eat. Ricky, you were there, right? We went to eat. And so he was just asking me how my weight thing is going and my training is going. I was telling him some of the hiccups I have with it. He's like, yeah, it's funny. He's like, because the biggest thing with weight stuff is you have to track what you eat, which is annoying. Every time you eat, you gotta plug it in, you gotta find it, you gotta scan the food. It's the most annoying thing in the world. But for me, honestly, right now, and I'm just being honest, like, I feel better than I've ever felt. Energy-wise, spiritually, like I'm coming into my prime. Like I just feel great. I really do. And it's not because like I feel great, it's because I'm actually like being disciplined. I have a schedule, I'm working it. And you just get a little bit more, you just got a little bit of swag, right? I mean, that's just what it is, right? And he's like, the funny thing is, if you can't document it, you can't eat it. And I go, what? And if you see, Kelvin's like he's 6 whatever, 220. I mean, this dude is like, he's freaking jacked, dude. He's like a model. Like, he's just like, and see, I'm not saying it like this. Right? And Samir and I talk about this, right? Now, Samir has taken this to an extreme level. Okay? But a little vanity is what, Samir? No, look.
No, that's 100%.
Dude, this is not, I'm not trying to be funny. Be for real. Talk about that. Like, a little vanity is good. Right? Like, do you want to look like a slob all day? Like, you don't care at all? Do you want to have an oath? Like, I remember when I was like 17, 18 years old, and like people get in my car, they'd be like, it kind of smells in here. I'm like, yeah, that's because my clothes are back there that I haven't taken out in 2 years. And they smell, right? I mean, just a little's good. You don't have to be like, everything in moderation, but you got a little vanity's good, man. Like, Kelvin, he's the kind of guy, you walk with him down the street, people, like, they'll say a compliment, like, oh, and they'll ask him, they'll prospect him about working out, this and that. He can prospect people. The clients that we've gotten is because he recruits them to the gym. He says, oh, hey, why don't you come work out with me? And then they go work out, and Enver's like that too. Like, you work out with this guy, you get inspired, and then he develops credibility, and he develops clients. Now, I'm not saying I want to be that guy that, maybe it'd be cool, but, I don't know if I can ever be that point where people are going to compliment you on the street. But that's why he gets those compliments. Because if he can't document it, he doesn't eat it. What does that mean for us? Are you duplicating what you're doing? Is there any duplication going on in what you do? How you are? Like, okay, I know me right now. Okay? You know, I woke up this morning, got a bonus. My bonus was $18,000. Okay? Good morning. Happy holidays. Right? Okay, I come in late. I dress like this. Why would you ever think you're me right now? These guys know how I was when I was making 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, 250,000. You guys coming in late, it's bullshit. You guys having no schedule, it's total BS, man. One, it's not duplicatable. And two, you're never going to recruit or keep or duplicate with good people like that. It doesn't work like that. And that's why 17 for most of us was a wash. Now some of us have progressed, but we could have done a lot better. So the theme is duplication. How can we get more people plugged in? How can we duplicate? And how can you personally become somebody worth duplicating? Okay? The first thing is you want to create a new life, create a new routine. Number one, you have to find ways, okay, to get to the office during the day. And we're going to talk more about that, okay? Not just meetings. We need a deeper level of commitment from people. And that doesn't happen with a lax schedule, where people are not putting time in. You know, when I think about 2018, this is just me personally. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not getting more energy. I do feel great, but I also know that the window's closing. It's going to get harder and harder and harder. And we're going to get older and older and older. We don't put the time in now, it doesn't get easier. We get this thing up and running, you get momentum, it becomes more fun. And you know the thing I love about it? We don't care about your past. We don't care what you did in 2017. I don't care what you did yesterday. I care what you did now, today, and in the future. So if you can make some changes, off to financial independence. So a couple things that we did right. And when I look at my base shop, which that's where I have the most control over. Activity thread. We have an activity thread, okay, on GroupMe, because that's the way people communicate. Right before, when we didn't have smartphones and GroupMe and WhatsApp and ways to group chat, we would have a whiteboard every day, and we would go in and we would mark how many interviews we book, and you see somebody at 10 and 9. Then we had a Google Doc, which was pretty cool, and then we could see, because people were in different offices, different parts of the country, and it was a real-time activity scoreboard. And when those things are going the most, and people are contributing the most, and they're engaged the most, business thrives the most. And see, you have to start thinking like a recruiter. And a recruiter thinks like, they think in multiples. That's how you think, right? See, yes, I wanted to work harder. okay? But that's not my dominant thought. My dominant thought is, how can I work harder and get other people to work harder? Because it's only so hard, I can only work so hard. If I could get 5 to 10 people to book 5 interviews a day, that's 50 to 100 interviews a day we book. How does that happen if you don't call them, if you don't touch base with them, if they don't get out of bed till 10 o'clock? Well, you can start that with an activity thread, right? Hey, I prospected this person. I said an interview. I did this. I did that. And the people that are on my thread, even now, that still continuously, religiously plug in on my thread with tons of activity all throughout the day, they do the best. They're the most consistent. They're the most productive. Accountability, right? Transparency. You can see what people are doing. When people hide, what happens? They're watching TV. They don't want their numbers. They don't want their numbers known. They'll never duplicate that way. And the biggest thing, okay, and I'm talking about, and I had a training, Samir, and I know I'm doing this for your group because I know it really worked for mine. I used to have emergency meetings after the meetings, and I said, this thread, right? I call it, my thread is called Hard Work Pays Off. I said, this thread is going to change your life. I said, if you sell out to this, you believe in this wholeheartedly, you will change your life. If you have a sense of pride of putting activity on this, if everything you do, this is a dominant thought, I need to just put my name on there 10, 20 times a day. With real, I scheduled somebody for the exam. I set up an interview. I booked a KT. I beneficiary referral KT. I got a referral. I prospected 5 people. You'll change your life. Because if you take care of your days take care of your weeks take care of your month, and that starts with what? A thread. Right? And for us, we run a week-to-week schedule. We don't think in months, we think in 7 days. And so we have a counter on our thread, Samir, of yes and KT's set and KT's done. And I'm having this conversation because my team, right, we've fallen asleep at the wheel a little bit. We're not as good as we should be on it. Some areas we're good, but we're not as detailed, right? Some people in here, right, they don't update the count, which is terrible. They just put it on there, and it's not that they forget, they're lazy, and you can't forget. You gotta be tight, right? You gotta be airtight, you gotta keep it buttoned up. Bob Safford said, you should always know how much money you're gonna make every week by how many appointments you have set. It should never be a mystery. We also track how many guests come through the office. That's it. That's what we track. A regional leader should have how many appointments set per week? 20 a week. Every day, on Saturday training, I talk to people. I'm like, hey, how many appointments you got set per week? Even my RVPs sometimes, right? You know, and people wonder why they do 3,000 to 5,000. Right? I was talking to Gabe last night. You know, Gabe and Ty, they did 19 grand last month. 19,000. In the last 3 months, they've made 35,000. Right? They're tracking stuff. They're tracking. If they don't like the number, they get it up. $35 grand. 19,000 last month. In 1 week, they did 5 by 13,000. 13 sales, sorry. 5 recruits, 13 sales, 1 week. Right? I mean, that's unbelievable. And I'm on their group, me, right? I'm watching. I see all the activity that they're doing, and you know, they're doing these things, they're recognizing people, all the stuff that it's such a simple business, man. Because the business works, because there's a need for what we do. If we talk to people, we prospect, we approach people, we get results. When you're at home and you do nothing and you're not plugged in, you're gonna get nothing done. And then you're gonna live in a life of delusion. It doesn't work like that. So activity fed, then we have a results thread. The results thread is our make it obvious thread where you should post results, right? And you can put it on there if you schedule, if you get a recruit, you get a life sale, you get an investment sale, you should post that. Okay. What else works that we're doing, or some of you guys are not doing it? Licensing class. We need to talk about licensing class. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with people, and the class, our instructor, unbelievable. Ricky, and we appreciate everything that you're doing, making the class better, dealing with a lot of our knucklehead recruits, okay? And condensing the class, simplifying the class, making the class fun, caring about it. Every week, I don't even call him after class. I mean, like, he'll call me like, hey, Ricky, what do you want? He's like, oh, I just wanted to discuss class with you. I'm like, yeah. Right, isn't that true, Ricky? I'm like, yeah, tell me, was good? And he's like, and he'll say, hey, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what, and he'll go through it. He doesn't need to do that. He cares, like, hey, this is what, it was a good group, it felt good. Just taking pride in what he's doing, right? Just trying to help us. Here's where we're going wrong. We're not registering people, so people show up, they don't show up, they show up late, they miss. Okay? Our repeats. Okay? And Ricky, you said something to me very telling. Okay? So we have a rule in our office: if you're not licensed, you will attend class, no matter what. Okay? So it's funny to me, but it's like people like enjoy going to class. Like, hey, I've been here 10 times. Right? I mean, they literally like, yeah, no, I've done that. I'm gonna have the record of how many times I can sit through this class. So what's the problem, though? You said it to me. But
some people like without history.
okay, so here I'm just. So one, they're ruining the class. Okay, so we have some people. And I go in there and I say, hey, don't sleep, this and that. When I go in there in the beginning, I said, but some are sleeping, and it's a little bit. And Ricky's not going to kick your people out. Okay, I will, but you did at the break. You said, hey, man, don't come in. Okay. So they're snoring in class. Right? So we have a licensing class with brand new people. Some people are asleep and snoring. Right? I mean, this is the locker room. I'm telling you how it is. Okay? Whose team was he on? Hey, hey, this is a little bit of this is Goodfellas. If that's your recruit, you're getting clapped too. I mean it. When I go into the op and someone is acting up, what do you think the first thing I say? Who invited you? Why? Because I'm getting that person after this. Oh, you vouched for anybody seen Donnie Brasco? Oh, this is a friend of ours? Or a friend of yours? Friend of mine. This is Donnie. He's a friend of mine. Okay, well, if he's a rat, you're getting killed too. You know how scared I am at big events, even with my team now. And usually the events are mine, or I'm the biggest person in the event. I see something happen, I'm like, oh shit, it's not my guy. And then I see like all the other people, like Tia, like, oh shit. Zach looking at me, you're on my team, right? Yo, come on. Look. I want people in class, but one person can ruin the entire class, man. So number one, people are sleeping. Number two, the PFS experts, the people that are in there forever, they're blurting out the answers. And here's the worst thing. And you said it. What'd you say? That's the worst thing. Our repeats are not even taking the test. Guys, are we trying to run a business, or are we running a circus? Become a business owner. Not a Primerica freaking fart head. That just freaking is so desperate and begging of every single person. We don't have to be mean, okay? But come on, man. Become a business owner. Run a business. So here's some of the changes that we're going to make, okay? Number one, our recruits have to pay up front. Two, we are not going to allow people to repeat class all the time. Some will be allowed. But if they're coming 2 or 3 times and they have not taken the test, they're not going to class. Because now they're just wasting our time. And me and some of the other RVPs, we're taking not just time, this is our money. You ain't getting free pizza and free coffee. It doesn't work. At least just take the exam. Show me that you're scheduled, you can sit back in class. If you're not scheduled, you're not in class. Because it takes away from the people that are trying to do it. And what does it do to the motivation of my instructor? Right? Do you feel motivated? Honestly. You got people in there sleeping, snoring, people blurting out the wrong answers, people been in there 10, 15 times. What does that do to his motivation? No. And it's not that he's doing a bad job, it's we're doing a bad job. You know, I sent a box draft the other day. I don't spend time with people that have nothing invested in Primerica. Do you do that? Oh, I got a live body. They have a pulse. Let's put them in class so I can stand up and get recognition. No. You have somebody that is bastardizing our system. Okay? No more. We have to make major adjustments with class. Now, Ricky, you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. We have to get people registered, paid on time, not hey, they're going to come. Doesn't work like that. So, how many do we have registered?
None have paid.
We're not going to have classes. We have an hour after, right? Right. But Ricky, I'll let you know by 2 or 3 o'clock. If we don't get the registrations, we're not going to have class. All right. See what your licensing does for your trip in Miami, right? And how it works and all that stuff. All right. Second thing, district promotions. Let's talk about this. Okay. So brand new people, I see a couple new people. District leader is the biggest and most important and building block promotion of Primerica. Everything is a byproduct of promoting district leaders. Okay? Your ability to promote district leaders is going to determine how far up the system you get promoted. Get to division leader, you promote 2 districts. You get to regional leader, you promote 4 districts. You get to vice president, you promote 6 district leaders. Okay? So if you can get somebody, and I hire Dante, and I can take him through the system, which is get him a few recruits, get him trained, get him licensed, let him see the sales process, and get him out on the other side, which is district leader. Then you have broken the code. You have mastered the combination lock, and you can open the safe whenever, wherever. You know, my wife said something the other day. She said, you know, even if this business fell apart, I know my husband could redo it, right? That's because I can promote district leader. I can get somebody to district leader. I can promote somebody. And so if you can do that, you can do this business. So when was the last time we had somebody do a first down? Months. Okay, so Dante helps with the recognition. Tom, when was the last time? Months? Yeah. Okay, so obviously, you know, the best thing for getting a district leader is getting them off to a fast start in the first 10 days. Get them a recruit, get them a sale, and register them for class. Last month, did we have any district leader promotions? So I think we had, in our hierarchy, 15 people passed the exam last month. No district leaders. And that's on the trainers. Most of our team doesn't even know how to get promoted to district leader, and so this is the adjustment we're going to make. Okay. Well, write down what you think we should do to get more district leaders, outside of just recruiting more people, obviously. Write down an adjustment. Just want to see what people think. Yes. We are anemic when it comes to promoting district leaders. That's where we are. That's where our office is, that's where our team is, that's where our hierarchy is. We do not have enough district leader promotion. What do you think?
Collectively, advertising.
Talk about it more. Talk about it more. Maybe have some visuals. What you focus on, Rose? Yep. Okay. What do you think? Jen? Get them out in the field rather than. All right. How about you? Maybe get them one more. Good. Good stuff. We're going to make it harder to become a district leader. We're going to raise our standards. We're not going to discount it. We're not going to give it away. I'm telling you right now, when someone gets to district leader, it's going to be the biggest celebration in the world. Okay? Now, we're not going to make our sprint harder, because the sprint is perfect. Okay? So what's your name now? Jessica. So, do you know how to do sprint district leader yet? Okay. So I know, because I know you're pretty new. So it's 3 recruits, witness 6 sales, and pass your exam in the first 30 days. That is universal. That is in our Constitution. That's not changing. Okay? So, we have a system, right now, where if you get promoted to district leader in the first month, you can do 3 recruits, 6 sales, pass your test in the first 30 days. If they don't do that, though, what happens? How do we promote to district leader? Hmm? 3 by 25 points? Are people doing that? Did you do that? I'm just asking. Did district leader do 3 by 25? Who else? You did 3 by 25? I just give them away. I'm just being honest with me. I just like, all right, you look like this. Hey, can you show up on time? This is me. I'm being honest, and I know you guys are worse at it than me. But I'm pretty like, because this, I have daughters now, so I'm soft, right? You've been trying. You have fingers, really. I know you're trying. I think you're better than everybody else I have. This might hold you in the business for a little bit longer. And maybe you'll have more people at the event. Okay, I'll do it. I'm being serious. This is my thought process. And I'm giving it away and cheapening this thing worse than ever. And what happens now? People beg to go district, then they beg to go division. Some of you guys go district, then you go regional. And here's the thing. I just, this is a nice environment. I'm a loving dad of 3 kids. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay my taxes. Primerica's not a friendly place. You guys know that. A lot of you guys are getting slaughtered. Big districts, guess what? House of cards, you're falling, quicksand. And then you get punished, and what happens, Jay? Your confidence gone. Right or wrong? We go through the trip, you're not even on the bubble. You start feeling bad. Then you start stinking up the place. Attitude's just a little funky. It's not that. You got promoted weak, man. And it's my fault, too, because I actually have to pull the trigger on the promotion, and I let you talk me into it. I'm like, well, I'm not sure, maybe you shouldn't, or well, hey, I'm gonna work hard. Really, has that worked out for you? You couldn't do it before, now you do it after? And you get in the habit of taking weak promotions, what happens, man? You just become weak. And then you have a bad attitude, and then you just, then you just justify, and that's not the way we need to do it. Now, so if you don't get to district leader, okay, in your first month, which is what we want, this is going to be ironclad, okay? So write it down. Don't bring it to your RVP. And at our event, there's no finagling, okay? You have to do 3 by 2,500 in a month, okay? But you have to have a licensed senior rep on your team that does 1,000, or you're not getting promoted. Now you can do it a personal production way. We haven't determined that. It might be maybe 10,000 cumulative. Then you can get to district leader. Because if somebody doesn't recruit, that's okay, they can get to district. But they might have to do 10 grand of production, cumulatively, right? And we'll talk about that. I'll call Bruce and call some other people. But if you don't get to district leader, now look, we want to sprint you. If you sprint, you sprint. And look, okay, trainers. I know we need to grow our recruiting, okay? And I want to grow our recruiting. That's the number one goal. But if I got a brand new recruit, I recruit Casper and I tell him, hey, this is the most important promotion. Why don't you pay for a recruit? What? Did he do 3 recruits? He did 2. And he paid for 1. And what happens? We've started our relationship on the wrong foot. I always remember when it comes to a standard, okay, when holding a standard, okay, always remember this. The person you recruit, Luis doesn't believe he can do it. Okay? That's just normal. They always never believe they can do that. I can't do that. When I cheat, or I cut a corner, I'm confirming to him I don't believe he can do it either. I say, hey, you are right in believing you can't do it because I don't think you can do it either. Let's cheat. Let's pay for a recruit. Now look. There are times to do things, right? If there's a time to get a recruit for a bonus and they get 300 to pay 100, okay, I understand that. Get the money. But in terms of recognizing and putting somebody up who's achieved something, there has to be integrity in our numbers, and it sends the wrong message to the recruiter. Everybody understand that? And look, this is a very gray area. If you have questions when dealing with a recruit, call me. I'll walk you through it. I'm not a by-the-book guy. I know there are certain times where you have to do certain things to get people, whether it's points or things like that. But then the recognition can be the kiss of death. Everybody understand this? Because you go up and tell them they're a winner, and they haven't achieved anything, right? You've seen Rocky 3. You've seen Rocky 3. Great, that's one of the greatest movies ever, right? He goes, fights Clubber Lang, Mr. T, right? And gets rocked. And then Mick tells him, dude, I never put you up against real fighters. I'm not, right? Jen, you want to be careful. I'm not going to put them in a fight right away. Okay? Hey, you're on your own. Go, walk the streets of DC. 2 by 6. Come off the metro till you do. Sleep on this train. Okay, you got it, they're still babies. But That's the whole definition of a standard. So, everybody know how to get the district leader? So we're not gonna give it away. There is a penalty in a way, right? We're not gonna say that, but if they don't get it in that first month, you gotta make it seem like, you better do this in your first month or else it could take you 6 months. You know how long it took me to get to district leader? 6 months to get to district leader. 6 months to get to district leader. I was at a freaking rep and senior rep, field training people, taking people on appointments. I double-digit recruited as a senior rep. And there will be many months I did 1,700, 2,000, but I never freaking get to district. It took me 6 months. Right? Look at me now. Why? Because I fought for every promotion, and every promotion I took strong. And every promotion I was ranked in the country. Every single one. And at the bigger ones, number 1. And I don't care if that's not your DNA right now. You can change that. And when you hire somebody good, you can definitely change it. There's a licensing class. Samir, I know you've been talking about this a lot lately, and I got to continue to talk about it. Self-improvement, man. You know, I know in our meetings you talk about it. Self-improvement. You know, some of you guys don't read. Like, you don't self-improve at all. You don't read books. You don't listen to audios. You don't write your goals down. You don't have, you know, meaningful goals. You don't, like, think about your goals. You don't, you know, find it. You read stuff that you want to read. You don't read stuff that will help you. You know, the best thing about Primerica is the self-improvement. That's the best thing about this company. The money's unbelievable, but if you get into the self-improvement game where you're reading a book, you know, a part-timer should read at least 1 book a month. A full-timer should read at least 2 books a month. An aggressive full-timer should read 3 to 4 books a month. I mean, some of you guys, it's so obvious you don't read. You know, why do you read? Okay, obviously it can help you through adversity. Okay, right? But some of you guys will get hit. It just happens, right? Some of you guys, you hit yourself, right? And then you wonder, right? I'm going through a lot right now. No, you didn't, right? You didn't do what you needed to do, right? IRS came after you. No, you didn't pay the taxes. They're going to come after you. That's what happens. You have to stay on top of your stuff. I'm getting addicted. You got to pay. But so some of you have self-inflicted challenges, and then sometimes challenges just happen, right? Health challenges, you know. Nobody, you know, that's life. You know, for me, Samir, the biggest thing about self-improvement, obviously keeps my mind fresh, but it's a huge people skill thing. You know, people really are attracted to people that are getting better in every area. If I see somebody and they're about something, and they have some direction, and it's some sort of positive energy, I'm attracted to that. Like, I don't care what it is. If they know about it, it could be health and wellness, it could be this, it could be that. I like it. Because they have a desire to get better. Look, this year, make a commitment, this is going to be the biggest year for you for self-improvement. I mean, just you're going to invest so much of your resources and time and energy into self-improvement this year. Whether it's books, audios, obviously never missing meetings, getting the most out of meetings. Because, man, you know, you just will not develop the attraction to retain good people and keep good people. You know, a lot of people, and I'm not trying to be funny, they come around, they stay around for your RVP, they stay around for us. They're here in spite of you. I don't want that to happen forever. Because this is about you running your own deal, running your own show. So did we decide on the holiday parties for that? Because we can't rent the place out because they had another party to be 8:30 on Sunday night. And the Monday, the 18th, we have the
This is the
meeting
month that
with
is
Bruce.
booked up the most.
So I don't want to be dragging in.
This is the month that is the booked up the most. So it's gonna
Okay,
be-
so let's do it that Saturday, which is what?
Next Saturday.
Yeah, 16? Okay, we'll do it at my house on the 16th. All right, so, and if you haven't qualified for the holiday party that you'd like to come talk to me, because I do want more people to come. So I'll offer maybe something else in the next week. We're gonna have a great time, all right? I'll have a lot of fun talking about dominating Primerica. And before I bring Samir up, Hillel and I were talking last night, and we don't talk about this enough. And I was telling Samir about this morning. Because what did you tell me last night? And he was like, I'm taking 2 weeks off of my job, and I'm not going back. That's what he said. I was like, oh, so 2 weeks, okay, cool, man. Time for vacation. He goes, no. You know what? He goes, I'm not going back. He goes, I've had it. And Samir, how much do I talk about this guy?
All the time.
I mean, I'm always like, dude, this guy, hidden gem, right? Hidden gem. I mean, I notice what you're doing. Right? Like, 5 licensed people in the last 5 months, the type of people you bring in. But why is what he just did so important? Yeah, sometimes you gotta take that lead, man. Right? And sometimes you gotta take that lead. Like, I'm a dad, so I always think in terms of my kids, right? There's 2 things that I've had to do with my kids to overcome their fear in the last year. One of them, you guys know the bike, right? My son and my daughter ride the bike. 2, with my son, diving board. Right? So my son hangs out with a bunch of older kids, and my son loves the pool, and he's crazy, he's nuts. I'm scared of this diving board. Diving board 3 feet. It's not like a platform. It's 3 feet. It's this high. And so my wife doesn't swim. She doesn't know how to swim. Oh, okay. So Alex, Thomas, we're all the other African Americans. Is that a bad stereotype?
Yes, I know how to swim.
My wife, I was like, how do you not know how to swim?
I'll survive.
Huh? So my son gets on the diving and he sees all his friends and they're jumping off, they're having fun. He wants to jump. And he gets up there and he goes to the edge of the diving board and he won't jump. And he go up there and then he'll go back down. I'm like, man, come on, man. You want to see me, man. Represent me, man. You better get off that jumping here. So I get behind my son, and my wife yells at me, "Don't you push him." Hell yeah, I'm going to push him. He needs a push. He wants to jump. He sees his friends. He wants to jump. He's just a little scared. If that's my job. Now, I didn't throw him in there. I didn't give him a freaking no, you can do it. And then now he's jumping off there. Now I'm like, don't jump unless I'm watching you. He wants to, where's the highest diving board we can go off of? He needed a push. That's what we have to do for our people. We got to push them, man. They're scared. This happens in cycles, right? It's not all the time. But so just recently, we're looking for a house again. Just the places that we're looking at, I'm like, man, I'm good. Maybe not now, maybe it's not the time, maybe it has to be the right deal. I was thinking, like, man, because of this company, because somebody pushed me, because I hired some good people, because I never freaking quit, and I got better, like, God willing, right? Like, I'm gonna live in a resort, like a straight up resort. Like, it's like, I don't ever have to leave. Indoor fireplace, outdoor fireplace. I mean, just heated pool. It's like, yo, I will not have to leave my house. Like, where I was, Right, I showed you the place, right? That was not a joke when I said the first day we moved in, someone was toting a gun. We called her, they go, are you straight? Who was it? Like, you know, Thomas, was that your cousin? What happened, man? I was literally running around the neighborhood, like, everybody called, they sent this mass thing, don't go outside, someone's running. And I was like, man, I could be in like a straight up resort. Now, like I said, I don't, not now, maybe later, you know, depends, you know, but man, so we gotta push people. You know, like some of you guys get so comfortable at these stupid ass jobs. So comfortable. You know, I mean, it's okay. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. You can work at a restaurant in the evenings. You can drive Uber, but you know, freaking build your business, man. You know, I was proud of you. It gave me inspiration because sometimes, you know, people are so scared about that. You know, if you're going to work, and he's like, no, I'm going to work. And I know you've been working. And a guy that will work, and it's a lot of pressure. Full-time is not easy. It's very difficult. You know, but some of our guys, right, if you go full-time the right way, you can have my life. Even better. Because there's full-timers like Willie Naranjo and Mario Arizon and, you know, Miguel Illich and Diana and Mika Saunders and Angie Reed and all those people. Don't look at it because we have a bunch of, sometimes full-timers, they go, and they're freaking lazy. And they want to wake up late, go to bed early, watch Netflix all day, YouTube all day, because the people that will freaking pay the price and quit their job and say, yeah, that's the same thing I did. When I quit my job, because, you know, the people that hate jobs the most, and then they're willing to work hard, like a bat out of hell, like a freaking afterburner, they do well. I was never going to go back to get a job. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some things. I've cut people's grass. I've done a lot of things. You know, you see the signs, do this for money, that was who I was calling. Okay, you don't want those jobs, right? You have to freaking take beehives down and stuff like that, okay, for $30. I did anything to make money, but I was not going back to corporate America. I was not going back. And sometimes you got to do that, man. And I was really, you know, I was talking to Samir, I was like, you know, it was just, some other people will take the leap this year too, and they're going to go on to have a great life. And I hope that for you. You know, now it's a lot of work to do full time. There are a lot of distractions. And sometimes when you quit your job, you become a handyman. Everybody calls you to fix their stuff. You become a taxi. Oh, I need to drive this person somewhere. You're a taxi cab driver. You're a babysitter. Hey, I know you're not doing anything because you watch my kid. No, you're going to start a better daytime life. And we're going to make it. I know some people, Shondell, you're here, you know, every morning, right? Who is this guy? How you gonna do that? Can I do the training? Okay. Josh is my punching bag. I like to beat him up. Part of me building him up later. I was thinking about that though the other day, and now that you brought Josh up, I appreciate you bringing that up. Who is this guy that did 18 recruits? Who's that, Josh Perez? Is he here? He's not here anymore. He holds a record. Where is he? Damn, number 3, 18 recruits, man. We need to find that guy. He's here every morning, is what he said? It's okay. He's got a mom. He's got a girl. He doesn't need you to take care of him. You have a big year? You got a car. You gotta get some people in your foxhole, show up every day, be on those phones. Some of you guys sending out messages every day. 2-3 hours a day, prospect every single day. You'll find some good people. Where are you going with?
Qualified plans.
Okay, so I wanted to get you some training. How much you make about 30 grand?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So 33, then 30 grand.
Yeah.
Can some of you guys handle fluctuation in your income? Made 33 last month and 30 this month. And I think you'll have the best month ever in December of income. Give it up for Samir.
Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit on what Shaq was talking about, we always prided ourselves on coming into the office. Like, we built a career out of having a daytime environment. All of this has come from us building a daytime environment and being very disciplined and coming in at certain times in the morning, getting, knowing that morning activity is different than night activity, that we don't do paperwork, we don't take a lot of personal calls, we don't do appointments, that the majority of what's done in the mornings is front-end work. Front-end work is prospecting activity, reaching out to people, calling people's list, and inviting people to meetings. Like we said, Shondell and Josh are the ones that are here every morning, same time, running that system. And so, little by little, Shaq has a family, he's become more successful, he's making more money, I'm making more money. And so we started coming in later and later, the dress code gets a little bit more lax. The time, the accountability, us walking up to people and saying, why are you doing paperwork right now, you should be making calls and all that. So having a more lax environment, us not micromanaging, how's that working out for everybody? How was your year? I had a long talk with Bruce yesterday. He's congratulating me on my income. I was like, to say I don't care is a lie, but my income is growing because I'm actually working and I see myself as an extraordinary producer. Whether that's true or not, that's not what I believe in my mind, And if I want to turn it on, I can turn it on. But my licenses are down, my attendance is down, and my recruiting is down, which I've always been taught that when those things aren't where they need to be, your business isn't actually growing, you're kind of head faking. Now it's cool that, you can make 30 grand a month head faking, which is pretty cool, right? But that being said, how's my year? How's your year? Did you hit a goal this year? Did you go back and review? People that look through my daily planner, I see it. People come in my office and kind of peek over and they see all the things that I care around. I have my 2017 goals that I wrote at the beach in Aruba last year, and I carry around every day and I review those goals. How many of those goals did I hit? How many of those goals did you hit? Right? Matt, you hit a lot of goals this year? No, right? How's it working out, man? Being on your own schedule. Not being accountable. Doing what you want to do, when you feel like doing it. Not a lot of discipline. Someone not talking over you. Someone not criticizing you. Someone not challenging you. Someone not being on your ass. Being able to hide. How's that working, man? Is there any evidence that that's working? Think about that. Always remember this, Tara. Primerica gives you a lot of freedom, but some people, they take advantage of that freedom by being super undisciplined and wasting time, and those are the ones that give our company a bad name. Right? I want Steven to come in here and say, I don't want to just produce, I want to recruit and build a team because Josh has 30 people showing up and he makes $2,000 to $3,000 a month passively on his team, plus he writes sales, he makes another $2,000 to $3,000, and he does securities, and he's getting recognized, and he's winning all the trips, and he's a superstar, and he's becoming a leader. But right now, I got personal producers that are outpacing, everybody in cash flow. What the hell is that? You got to have winning examples of builders, not just personal producers. And all of that comes from having a highly disciplined, micromanaged, scheduled leadership, daytime environment where it feels like a job. This is Friday, right? So Saturday we sell, jobs suck, and you don't want a boss, and you can be your own boss. But the reality of it is, in order to get to that place, you have to be under the supervision of people that have your best interests in mind. And that's not happening when you're home doing God knows what. You know why he said that people aren't self-improving? Because we can freaking tell. You don't self-improve all morning and then come in and talk about the bullshit that people talk about in the office. You self-improve, your mind is racing. You have new ideas. You have different conversations. You have a different level of concentration, a different level of focus. You're attracting different things. The best thing I ever heard Bruce say about self-improvement and skill set, he said, you can try to cut down a tree, but if you have a dull axe, you're working hard and everyone sees you working hard, but you're not able to cut down the tree because you're not sharp. How did it work out? We got dull this year. How did that work out? Think about these things as the year changes. Think about the improvements. Right? And the cool thing is about Primerica, you know, as many years as he's in and I'm in, and I was telling Bruce, I feel like I got more energy than ever. I feel like I'm smarter at the business than ever. I feel like I'm more talented than ever. And God willing, thank you, I'm healthy. I have the energy. I've been blessed. I can go and I can do it. And so, you know, the year's gone, but make the adjustments, man. The number one issue with people is they don't feel that they have to change. That's the problem with, you know, athletes. We criticize them, like, oh, you're doing this, you said that, you're blah, blah, but they don't want to change because why would they? They've been the most highly recognized people in their town, in their city, in their state, in their school, on their teams, you know, making millions of dollars, and we say, oh, you shouldn't do this or that. They're like, why? Look at it. I mean, being the way I am, this is where I've gotten. So sometimes losing, not hitting goals, right? Not making the money, not being where you want to be, it's a good thing because you look in the mirror and say, okay, I tried it my way, it's not working, now I got to go back and do what I need to do. Okay? Change it. Let me change the direction real quick. So I went to go fill out the claims forms for that client whose wife died in a parasailing accident. And I don't know, I mean, I've delivered many death claims. I don't remember going through the claims forms, but it was a grueling process, man. You know, it just sucked because it was time of accident, it was cause of accident, it was, you know, then because she died out of the country, it was a foreign death document questionnaire. You know, why did you leave town? What flight did you take? How many days did you go for? And you know, one of the questions, Shaq, was, what was the purpose of this trip that you took out of town? And he had to write down, and he said it out loud. He said, it was just a family vacation. And now my wife is dead. And I'm sitting there having to look at this, having to ask these questions, having to go through this. Daughter's in the other room. And it was just like, I couldn't wait until it was over. And we had to get the claim, right? He said, he was talking to the agent, he said, man, and I was just quiet. This is not a conversation for me to pipe in. I'm just like listening. And he said, man, because they're Indian, right? He goes, living in America is tough, man. He goes, because my job, the contract I'm on, doesn't allow me to work from home. But they said they basically made an exception for me. I get 2 weeks off. And then I'm back to work. Does the company care? He goes, but now that I'm getting the money, I'm thinking, you know, if my daughter doesn't budge and she doesn't let me move, we'll stay here, I'll stay home, and I'll budge. I'll just leave the job. Why can he say that? He can say that because he has options. You know, and I was texting people, I was hearing this, and I was like, anyone who doesn't have insurance for their family, I can't believe in that. Even more so than before. It's crazy, man. It's the real deal out there. You know, as we deliver, no, that's not what I'm going to say. As me and Sheila go out and we see all these clients, again and again and again, I'm reminded, and changing pace again, you know, again and again, I'm reminded that I get life insurance transactions quickly and quality transactions because I know how to do securities. I don't know how much more I can say that. When are you getting your license? Are you already licensed? No. When are you gonna get it? Okay. It's gonna get so much easier for you, man. When you learn how to present securities, when you have that license, the business falls in your lap. And what I've noticed about Sheila, because Sheila, and now I'm just gonna say it because she's telling every client, Sheila has been a client with me for 11 years. Her insurance policy was only $113 a month, $500,000 on her and her husband. And then a few years later, she did a rollover with me, and her husband did a rollover with me, each for about $150,000. They now have $800,000. That's her story, Shaq. Oh, and by the way, now I'm working with that guy, and he wants to help you. And you know what she does? It's creating a ton over contributing, tax-free versus tax-deferred. And so I want to quickly go over that again, the things that we go over with the client. So I do want to bring up qualified plans real quick, and then we'll go through this. So I want to talk about something called qualified plans. You know, before, Jessica, it used to be really difficult because you would save money and then you have to pay taxes. And you would save money and then you have to pay taxes. And you save money and then you have to pay taxes. And the government realized that nobody's retiring. So what they did was they created something called qualified plans, and these plans incentivize people to save money through special tax treatment. So when a plan is qualified, what that means, Mr. and Mrs. Planick, is that it's qualified to receive special tax treatment from the IRS. Now, there's a lot of plans out there, and they're called different things depending on who you work for. If you work for a corporation, it's called a 401k. If you're a teacher or a nurse, you work for the county, it's called a 403b. If you work for the government, it's called a TSP, a thrift savings plan. Or if you want to get one on your own, it's called an IRA, which is an individual retirement account, and there's various types of IRAs. If you're a business owner, we call that a SEP IRA. Right? So people always ask, well, a 401k is risky. Do 401ks go up? Do 401ks go down? The word 401k is not doing anything. It's just a tax code. It's just a tax code. I'll show you what a qualified plan is doing. See, let's say, for example, you have $10,000 in anything. That $10,000 grows to $100,000. Anytime your money makes money, what does the government want from you? Tax, right? So you've had $90,000 of profit, you have to pay taxes. What a qualified plan does, it creates a shield around your money so the IRS can't tax that growth. That's all it is. It's just a shelter. Now, what actually makes your money go up and down, Tiffany, is what you have inside of that shelter. What'd you put inside there? What's your name, sir? Trevor. What'd you put inside there? Did you put mutual funds? Did you put bonds? Did you put individual stocks? Or did you just have cash? But this determines if it goes up and down. The qualified plan is just a shelter. Think about it like this. You think about a car, what makes the car go fast? The shell of the car, the exterior? No, the engine. What's inside of your qualified plan, that's the engine that determines how fast we can get you to retirement. But the actual qualified plan is just a shelter from taxes. Now, there's two types of qualified plans. The most common is called tax deferred. Deferred means delayed, Mr. and Mrs. Client. You're delaying the payment of taxes. So, let's say that you have $10,000. Let's say you put $10,000 in your 401k. As you know, well, they're going to say, well, you delayed the payment of taxes, so we're not going to give you the whole $100,000. We'll give you about $75,000. And as you can see, you pay taxes on everything. What you put in and the growth, the interest, everything. The whole $100,000 was taxed. That is exactly how a 401k works, a 403b works, a TSP works, a SEP IRA works. So what we like to tell people is that tax deferred is a dime a dozen. What does that mean? For every 12, right? For the 12, 10, it happens to be. So it's very common. Because at the end of the day, the government will get their money doing it that way. Now there's another type of qualified plan. This one is tax-free. That one even sounds better, right? Now, the difference is you put $10,000, this is after after-tax money. So money that hits your bank account that your company pays you, direct deposit or whatever, you've already paid income taxes on that. So we call that after-tax money. But when this 10,000 grows to 100,000, and you're ready to retire, you're going to get the full 100,000. The only way to achieve tax-free growth in retirement is with what we call a Roth IRA. I mean, you think about that. What would you rather pay taxes on? Just 10,000 or the full 100,000? Obviously, just 10,000. You got 90,000 tax-free. So obviously, we know that Roth is better because it's tax-free. But let's compare it to a 401k. So a 401k, because a lot of times we can tell what's better based on how the IRS and the government limits it. There wouldn't be greater limits on something unless it was more beneficial. Would you agree? So in a 401k, we'll change this. It's supposed to be 18.5 starting in 2018. 401k, you can put in 18.5. Roth IRA, you can only put in 55 per person. In a 401k, there's no income limit. Anybody can invest in a 401k. In a Roth IRA, for a single person, it's the most you can make is 129 for a married couple, 180, 190 combined. So as you can see, there's greater limitations on the Roth. So while you're under this income limit, it would be smart financially to put as much money in the Roth as you can. So we have a 401k, then we have available to us a Roth IRA. What do we do now with our money? Let's talk about the order of priority when it comes to your money. See, you have a 401k. What's the only good thing about a 401k? I mean, really, the investment options are usually limited. Sometimes the fees are high. It's tax deferred instead of tax free. But what is the one good thing about it? The match. Right? Free money. If you put in 5%, they're going to put in 5%. If you put in 3%, they're going to put in 3%. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, your company's matching 5%. You need to put in 5 so they can match 5. Now, what I've never understood is when the company's matching 5 and someone is putting in 15%. Because see, there's really no benefit above the match. What I would do is I would bring that contribution down to 5, take that 10%, and stick it into a Roth IRA. So this is your second highest priority. After we achieve the match, which is the free money, then we want to maximize the Roth IRA. Now, if you're fortunate enough to be able to fully match your 401k, maximize your Roth IRA for you and a spouse, and you still have more money for retirement, we can talk about other tax-deferred investments, which usually then will go back and increase the percentage of our 401k. All right, let's go down. So let me show you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what this could look like for you. This is what we call a hypothetical. It's going back in time and showing you if someone had fully funded their IRA with the investments that I recommend, how it would have performed. These are actual numbers, actual performance. The reason I'm showing you this is because I'm not allowed to legally project going forward, but I am allowed to show you an accurate snapshot of how it performed in the past. So this is a client. They started in 1973. they were putting in 5,500, so as you can see, they're fully funded. By the way, that's about $450 a month that they're putting in. This is just one fully funded IRA after about 18 years, they have $576,000. So usually what the client will do based on their age is they'll fast forward how many years they have until retirement. So if the client is 40, they have 25 years, we can go down to 2000, let's say 7, okay? Actually, no, it's 97, right? 1.3. What if we opened up 2? Now you're in the 2 million range. This account here, time is average, you can see 12.5%. And this is as of last year. When I added 2017, it'll be well beyond that. So let's talk about, let's pretend, Stephen, what if this was a 401k versus what if it's a Roth, okay? If it's your 401k, you put in $236,000, you have $7 million in a 401k, and you owe taxes on how much? All of it, right? Even when you pass it on to your family, they're gonna pay taxes. Now, that's not too bad, right? Even if you paid 30-40% in taxes, you still have tons of money, you only put in 236. So it's not like you're getting screwed, but you will be owed taxes on that. If this is a Roth IRA, I put in 236, and yes, I paid taxes on that 236 because it was after-tax money. I had to forego a deduction that year of a couple thousand dollar contribution. But today it's $7 million, all of it is tax-free. Now, if I'm in retirement, do I would like a taxable $7 million or a tax-free $7 million? All of that growth, which is about $6.8 million, is going to be 100% tax-free. And by the way, a Roth IRA, you can will it to your family tax-free as well. I'll take it another level too. What's an RMD, Josh? You know what that is? Jessica, you know what it is? Required minimum distribution? You know what that is? What age is that? 70 and a half. Okay. So when you reach 70 and a half, now actually you have real clients and they're getting to that age, and the government requires, so on their 401k rollover with me, on their annuities with me, all different retirement accounts, at 70 and a half, the government requires that they start pulling money out. That raises their taxes, it creates paperwork. Does your dad really, did he want his RMDs at 70 and a half? He didn't want it, he didn't need it. My dad doesn't want it, he doesn't need it either. He gets a pension, he gets Social Security, he didn't want his RMD, but he's forced to take it out at 70 and a half. Now, when I was 20-something years old, right, you have to do the same thing?
I have to.
Yeah, right? When I was 25 years old, 70 and a half was like, okay, you should take your money out of that. But now as I get older, my parents are getting older, you're in good shape, you're in good health, and some of these guys are still working, or they have other outside investments. You don't want to be forced to take the money out and pay taxes on it because the government is telling you to. Mm-hmm. So always remember this, in tax-deferred investments, required minimum distribution when you hit 70 and a half. Roth IRA, no required minimum distribution. All right, what questions about Paul Franklin? Anything?
Are you doing this all in
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's the insurance presentation, and then there's this. I mean, that's absolutely something else.
Who are you doing this with?
Huh?
Who are you doing this with? But who?
Everybody?
Are you?
Yeah.
But who? Married people, both have jobs, you know.
If I want them to buy insurance, I'm doing this. Let me put it that way, okay? If I want them to buy insurance, I'm doing this, because it makes the insurance sale easier for me.
But you're doing it with Sheila.
Oh, hell yeah, she makes me do it.
No, because it's also it's market driven too, right? Like some of the market I'm in, I can't do this. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've been in that market.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything is, you know, you have to discern when you're in the field.
Actually, you're right. If I'm sitting, okay, I get where you're going with
Right.
this. So if someone is buying a $15 app from me and they have no money and all that, I'm not wasting my breath, okay? Matter of fact, with certain clients, okay, I'm just opening the investment and not even explaining. You need to save $50 a month, I'll probably put a balance fund or a target date or something like that. You can write the check and let's go. I'm not doing, you know, this over-the-top investment presentation, all the different nuances, tax-free. They ain't got no 401k, they don't have any savings. They're lucky I'm putting 50 a month away. I'm in and out, to be honest, okay? But yeah, I mean, nurses, doctors, professionals, dual income, a couple 100,000, you know, 100,000, 80,000 as a single person. Yeah, man, I'm going through this stuff, for sure.
No, when in doubt, if you want to use it, use it. Okay? I mean, when in doubt, use it. I would use it more than not. But, you know.
At a very minimum, Chef, if I'm securities licensed, screw everything else I just talked about, I just show them the hypo. This is what happens if you save money. Open the account. What do I gotta explain? At a very minimum, be lazy, show them the hypo.
Samir, at what point though is like when you're doing the closing sequence, do you close on the first, or are these people already kind of prepped and open to getting life insurance already, or like, do you show them like the house and wait to go into the closing like sequence and just like pause on that and then do this and come back to them?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll get the commitments for the life, and whether I'm sensing some hesitancy or the go-ahead, then I'll be like, but let me switch and show you this, and I use this excitement to go back and get the life. Then what I say is this. I say, look, you're looking at the cost, okay? Maybe you're looking at the cost, but look at what I'm doing here. If you do this plan with me, okay, look at how much money my program has made you. So as a program, you're gonna be up millions. Even if you spend thousands on insurance, the net return for you is still way in the black, okay? So my overall plan, yes, there's gonna be some parts of my plan where you are spending some money, which let's call the insurance, even though we know we need that, but the investment side is making that back. Okay, so can you agree, you spend thousands on insurance, but we make millions through our investment, that's a good decision for you? So don't just focus on the expense, focus on the overall plan.
When you're showing the high goal, you're only showing the full budget. If you sit down with someone and say, you can do it for life insurance.
So I've talked about this before, that I carry around two. The lowest is 200 a month. I don't show anything below that. Yeah, I do have one for 200 a month.
Let me talk about that for a second. You stay up there, because I want to talk, this is important. You know, field training is an art, okay? And I built my business field training. And, you know, I was talking to Shay about this last week. I went on an appointment, okay? And did I talk to you about this, the 23-year-old? Yeah, okay. So I was just talking to her about this. So I was with a client, 25 and 23 years old, and did Term Now Select 25-year, 300,000 each. Okay, so a pretty young client. Okay, so 25, 23-year-old, 300,000 each, the most you can get on Term Now Select. Write down what you think their quote was. Just I just wanted to see.
How old are they?
25 and 23. Select term now, 25 year. Write it down. Just write it down. Just want to see. Some people already know it. This is the old app I submitted. 6 months ago, I already know what I did. Actually, I'm already at $2,000 in December person, so what? Where's she at? 6 grand? 8 grand? What's the quote? What do you think it is? 77. Okay. So, number one, who are we writing? It is a 25 and 23 year old. So, we should not be doing many $20 apps. I'm being honest. Omar Oropesa told me those apps are the biggest ones that charge back, and I believe it. Because I see, right? Ask her.
Yes.
Okay? So, and I know sometimes I tease Jim, right? I'm not teasing. I'm saying this. For real. Okay? We have to start getting a little bit more in terms of what we ask of people, even the clients. Okay? That was a person that lived in somebody's basement. They didn't even have their own house. And they made $3,500 a month combined. That's not a lot of money. So we should not be writing people up that can afford $30 a month, $20. You know, it takes just as much work to write up 2 people as it does to one, right? I mean, if it's a married couple, right, you do the same presentation. We have to challenge people to get better markets. So, look, sometimes what he said, you're wasting your breath. It's not even wasting your breath. That is a very, and I agree with what you're saying, a selfish way to look at it, you're wasting your breath. If you even wanted to get an insurance app, it's counterproductive to talk about some of this stuff. They're confused. Like, if I sit down with the client and they say they had a 401k, but they cashed it out, yeah, I think I had that, but I borrowed, I took it. I'm probably gonna chill on this. If I see how they live and based on their comments and, you know, I'm out of work or this or that, or you gotta be very sensible at the kitchen table. Generally, qualified, husband, wife, you're doing it. Because they care a little bit more. It's just different. I'm not saying it because I'm married and you don't know what are you talking about? You know where I went in North Carolina with Sheila? Do you know when I lived in Florida, the market I was in? I'm talking about, like, you know, I went to appointments in Miami, like, I was like, yo, and I went with a quarterback. He's he went to Hampton and was a quarterback, and I was like, dude, come on, man. I mean, the houses, the place, the dogs out front, you're just like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna make it out. If I go in, I'm not gonna make it out. Call my wife once you know where I am. Okay? I'm being serious. So I know all the markets, man. I've been everywhere, trained everybody. You know, so there are just certain times, you know, you don't use qualified plans, and there are certain times you do. Right? You have 50 apps and below. I mean, you know, because I see the market that, you know, 205, 180, and that's normal. That's not like, that's high. That's not high. A normal person pays $75 to $100 a month for insurance, man. And if you're married, it's $200. Okay? We're in a market, and then we're weak on people. That's not normal, but it's okay. Get what you can get. I just want to be clear about that because, you know, you just have to be smart when you're at the kitchen table. And when you're training new recruits, don't see everybody. See good people. See people that are married. You know? Now, that might not be your market right away, and if that person is a single mom, they may only know single parents. That's okay. Beggars can't be choosers. But ask for married people. If doctor says, oh, I know this person's single, okay, do you know? I'll say, do you know anybody that's married? I'll just say that. You know anybody that has kids? Well, they live together, not married. Do you know anybody that's married? I will say that. But I know what's better than, you know, okay, fine, they live together, they're not married, that's better than no, you know, married, no kids. Okay, I get it. But, you know, you're in a, what does Bill Whittle say? You can be in the wrong market and work your ass off. That's what he said.
I don't wanna see that for people. Right, so we just have to do a little bit better, and I also want, you know, because, and this is me too, I come back, I'll also be back in one point of the, and you don't know who I just said that. I mean, you don't know what I just witnessed, right? And it's my job to teach them the training, how to do better with setting appointments. I couldn't, you think I'd show them an F&A? I would never show them an F&A. Never. I would never do the qualified. I might, you know, probably dead or something, but, you know, so you just have to be wary about it. But I think if they're married, you're always going to do it. That's just kind of my, if they're fully qualified, you're going to do a little bit more, or if they haven't. I mean, I know because you've just been trained, Sheila, and probably Anisha, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's at the upper end, right, the most Ashburn, married, jumbo mortgage, right? How often do you do qualified plans? Huh?
It depends on the client. Like, we have a carry back with somebody that's too prospective. It depends on the situation, like you said.
If they have, what you basically said, if they have money, they have a 401k, or care, they have money, then yeah, we do it, but somebody cash it out,
Any other questions, Mr. Mayor, about this? This is important, it really is. Field training is the number one thing that you do in business. Always remember, all the magic happens there.
I was going to ask, I'm coming into business, exactly somehow, sell the insurance between the methods of real estate agents. So I wanted to be positive about that, like, how you try to interact with it's kind of the same, if you want the cost of that, you're not going to go for an insurance fee, what happens if you don't get all the information, how you kind of back
I mean, that I now say when this, I can tell they're just wanting investment. I say, look, I'm bringing you a program and we don't piecemeal, you know, so the thing is that this comes with this, but this is why, right? And then you go through the theory and you say, if you only get this is what could happen, and they're gonna get the
Yeah, I'm never doing investments with that insurance. I mean, unless maybe they got like a big rollover.
Yeah, roll over, yeah.
But, I mean, if it's like a client starting out and they say, oh, you know, I would never, I just wouldn't subject myself to do that. You know, you obviously are not respecting any of my recommendations, nor do you see a value in this. And you know, I showed you that this is the foundation. This is the most important part of your plan. But my appointment, I had to do the same thing. I had to go back and I had to do ICA guidance and look, you know, what I'd like to do tonight. Because I did the whole thing and they're feeling it. Got a commitment. They said they set aside money, but I could tell they weren't biting, right? And I showed them the ICA guide, and then I went back and I said, well, look what I need to do. You don't have any protection. Why? You know, these are benefits. I did this. I said these are benefits of our clients. You allow me to implement your term life insurance. I just tried to say it like that. Because I'm going to talk a couple times and see where it is, right? Why would I go back to get the same objection? They don't have any protection. They had the money. They said they wanted to do it, right? That's different. If they have protection already, okay. Replacement is totally different. No protection, just group, young family, young kids, we should close. It's okay not to close, but we should close. Right? It's awkward and we gotta close too often too soon, right? As opposed to too little too late. So I was just like, all right, man, I gotta do this, I gotta do training, you know. I could easily lay down and go back, you know, but let me just do the application. And you do it as a necessary evil. That's the term I use. All right, any other questions? So, Sophia, what's the deal with the license now? What test do you have to take on after December?
So after December, the government's applying an additional test to, like, kind of like a pre-test in a way, before you can even get the 6 and the 63.
It's a pretest.
Well, but it's a whole nother exam. So you
Similar
have to, like,
material, what is it?
I mean, I think that it's just like, yeah, basic financial information from the exam.
From what I've read about it, the new test is gonna be, they're trying to weed people out. They don't even want a whole lot of people taking the 6 and 63. So the new test is gonna be like a filter. It's gonna be a lot harder than even the 63. So, get it done.
I think the 6 and 63, they're gonna make a lot less overlap between the two exams.
Yeah, they're getting rid of redundant material.
Yeah, they're talking about that a lot.
And putting that all into one exam.
1, 2, 3, you're gonna have to do them all.
It's only gonna get tremendously harder, bottom line, if you wait.
And by the
I heard
way,
it's starting in February, not June.
Yeah.
all the,
Didn't Andrew call the securities, the license, and they said they hadn't even received a thing of paperwork yet to implement.
Okay, so what are they?
They said if her window open now, that she would be fine until they even receive the paperwork, then they have to notify everyone that they got it, and this is what's gonna start. So they haven't even received anything from Finland, that was as of last week.
So we got,
Yeah, this is some bigger information. Says securities industry essentials exam was available beginning October 1st, 2015. Securities industry essentials exam is available on new FINRA exam for prospective security industry professionals. This introductory level exam assesses candidates' knowledge of basic securities industry information, including concepts fundamental of the industry and products that are listed. That's very cool. That's a possibility.
okay, that's good for us. I mean,
A securities instructor for Primerica told John that it's going to work, but I've seen it on the website. So
And the flyer that I have literally hanging in my office says
January.
January, so.
But you can-
Hey, look, you can play with as much fire as you want. Okay?
Yeah, wait, you're still, look, I know where we are as a company, so I know, I was telling Ricky, I was telling Samir, I was telling Shay, everything we're doing is designed to sit down with the client. If they have group, close them on life right there, and then go back and do security, right? Here's the reality though, if you don't do investments, you're stupid, and you're not doing the total job for the consumer. When you do it, how you do it, that's where you have to discern. If you don't have a license, it's dumb, man. It's really stupid. So you can wait as long as you want. I don't hit people over the head anymore, but how much has it already cost you, right? And I know when I teach people think I'm beating people up. It's like, well, this is how years go by, you don't get licensed, right? 18 months, I'm not licensed, right? I mean, sometimes you just gotta keep hammering away. So, all right, so the holiday party is gonna be next Saturday. Who has qualified for that? Raise your hand. Okay, so put your hand down. Awesome job. If you have not qualified, raise your hand. Okay, so I'll just say it right now, between now and next Saturday, put your name on now. Doesn't count if you're already for the month, from today. Okay, so next Friday or Saturday, whatever Saturday you can come. We want to include more people. We're gonna have a great time. It'll be a lot of fun.
What time is the party, just so we can schedule things before?
7:30.
7:30?
Yeah. The millionaire meeting is a qualifier meeting for anybody that does 10 recruits, that in the month of November did 10 recruits, base shop, or 5 base shop. Okay? If you have not qualified for that, because Bruce just, I talked with him yesterday, so, he wants to include more people as well, because we ran out of place, there's 50 people, you look at the numbers, are not that many people. It'll be a more interactive meeting. If you can do the qualifications before the meeting, okay, which is 5 base shop recruits, then you can come. All right, if you have not qualified, 5 personal, 5 base shop, whatever, then you can come to that meeting. It's going to be a awesome meeting, it's a great time. Christian, Bruce, different setting, more winners. He's going to talk about some great stuff. I think he's going to talk a lot about being full-time, how to run a full-time schedule.
for 2018, so that's gonna be a great meeting as well. Remember, if you qualify for the month, we're gonna go to the DC Improv, which is one of my favorite places to go, right? Or any comedy, but I just went to the Improv, loved it. So we'll find out a good act, I guess, for someone that's coming, and it's gonna be a great time, all right? Tomorrow, make sure you see Ratna if you have people registered. They have to be paid to register, we're not gonna have class. How important is class? And we have training tomorrow, we set a bunch of appointments. We still have our op meeting, and, you know, tomorrow is what, December 9th?
Yep.
9th of December? So make sure we, start December strong, all right? Team up to 1, 2, 3.